So here's a product review and demonstration of STIHL's 2 lithium-ion powered pole pruners. We have the HTA 65 and the telescopic 85. Oops, I gave you away their big difference. One's telescopic, one's not. Anyways, let's get into the details. And Tim Hortons is not a sponsor of this. I often have a cup lying around. All right, so the HTA 85 has a very solid build. It weighs, with the battery, it'll weigh 14 pounds, which is 2 pounds lighter than the telescopic gas unit. So over the course of a long day, that definitely makes a difference. A very solid aluminum shaft with a big rubber grip down here. It has the same casing as the STIHL HTA 85. And how can I show you this? All right, so with this little extension right here, we can shoot this machine from 8 feet 2 inches to 12 feet 1 inch. So it's about a 4-foot extension, which makes adjustments on the fly very easy. But once again, it is almost a 15-pound unit. So it's a little bit hard for doing a lot of hedge toppings. That's what I bought it for primarily. We do some tree work, but a lot of hedge work. So we could reach across, but a very heavy unit to use every day like that. So I was wondering, I was thinking of actually, I went to STIHL Canada and I said, hey, why don't you make a shorter one? And I guess they weren't letting out the secret yet, but alas, one did exist. It's called the STIHL HTA 65, and it was not available in Canada, and it still isn't, maybe not even this year. So I drove down to the States, to Plattsburgh, New York, 2 hours away, and picked it up. And I kid you not, it's the best decision I ever made for my business. We'll get to that later. Well, that's not the best decision I've made for my business, but for hedge topping, yes, indeed. So, very similar design, except this one does not have an adjustable head on it. It also is 2 pounds lighter than if you take a chainsaw blade and you put it on a combi unit. So this is still 2 pounds lighter than that with a battery. Thinner shaft, so it has a little bit more flex on it, but I got used to it. At first I was not used to it, but it's fine right now. All the rest of the build is the same, aluminum with rubber. This is fixed at 7 feet 9 inches with a 10-inch blade on it. So it can fit in 8-foot compartments, no problem. And there's about a 10-inch difference, more or less, compared to the other unit, which is a world of a difference. If you're like me and you're on top of hedges and you're topping hedges, you need to have the machine to be able to be close enough to you as you're climbing the ladder to snip off tops. If the machine is too long, like this one was, it's just too cumbersome, and you have to climb with snips and other stuff, and it's a lot more complicated. So that's more practicality wise, but the build of the machine on this one is very light. You don't get tired on it whenever you're using it for many hours of the day. As soon as I picked up this machine, I had a week full of toppings lined up, and I wasn't even tired. Usually I'm dead tired after holding something. This one here, I have the specs here. Let me just blow off the snow. This one here weighs, 12 pounds whenever it's fully loaded. The batteries, recommended batteries, are the AP300S. They will last 50 minutes of run time on either one of these. But like we all know, we're never always running these things non-stop, so the battery time can definitely last a lot longer. So it really depends on what your needs are. If you're doing a lot of hedge topping, try to see if these exist where you live, the HTA 65. If you're in Canada, drive down to the States, make a weekend out of it, come back with it. You'll thank me later. They are fantastic pieces of equipment. This one here, I will still keep it whenever we have ultra wide hedges, but even then, that's not something that happens too often. If I had to choose one, I would definitely get the HTA 65, but you know what? You can't go wrong with either. It's just, I'm not the biggest, strongest man in the world, so holding this thing non-stop gets pretty tedious, but maybe you're built for it. You can't go wrong with either one, guys. They're fantastic pieces of equipment, and the speed on these things are pretty fast. Oh. So that's it. I don't have any other details to give you except that they'll set you back around $399 US for this one, and the other one around $499 US, then plus your battery, plus your charger. So it's an investment, but well worth it in the long run, especially if you already have the batteries and the chargers for other tools, right? So think about that, guys. HTA 65, HTA 85, both great pieces.